time the sun comes up tomorrow, there's a very good chance you'll be dead.
You're gonna lose.
The way that it plays out in the show, in the first episode, is very different from how it plays in the game. In the game, you just meet this woman, you don't know her name, you don't know who she is, in this very intense sequence, and there's no backstory or any information on her, and then all of a sudden you're playing her in the game. And it's really drastic, it's really shocking, but I think what Neil and Craig did so beautifully in this game, I mean in this story, is really sort of give her some lead up. And in the first episode, we get a little taste of Abby and what she's about, and in terms of her relationship with the Fireflies, I think that, yeah, I think you're correct in saying that she is sort of a leader, but hasn't quite figured out that dynamic yet with Owen, because I think it's kind of, it goes between the two of them, and I think I can say that, but I think that, yeah, there's more of it, and there's more of her, there's more lead up, we get to the core of who she is in the show, and I think more so than we do in the game, and yeah, it's very exciting.
So Ellie was 14 when we left off season 1 and is now 19. So I think a lot happens over those years in anyone's life between like the ages of 14 and 19, and especially with how your relationship with your parents or parental figures changes. And I think that has obviously happened with Ellie and Joel, but is amplified by the world that they're in and the sort of thing in the back of Ellie's head that she's had this whole time, that maybe Joel lied to her, and now him being super overprotective and like having this like vice grip on her that she doesn't want. I think there's just a lot of like tension there and frustration from both sides probably, and them just like not really understanding each other and being the Joel and Ellie that everybody grew to love in season 1. Yes, I think the people who clash the most are the people who are the most similar, because you're seeing something reflected back at you that it's sort of like the faults that you have. If you see them in another person, I feel like it just makes you like butt heads. And so I think that they definitely are very similar, but neither of them would like, well, maybe Joel would like to admit that he's like Ellie, but Ellie certainly wouldn't like to admit that she's like Joel. So I think that, because they're so similar and have a lot of similar sort of like traumas and similar instincts and similar, I guess how they navigate their emotions is quite similar. So I think that, yeah, there's a lot of times where they do just clash, and that's probably been exposed more again as Ellie's grown up and is becoming more of an adult. I think they're figuring out how to live together harmoniously as adults.
First of all, yeah, there was a little taste of Tommy in the first season, but they did talk about me quite a bit. Like he loves me, and he couldn't stop thinking about me when they were trying to get to Jackson. But in the second season, they've arrived in Jackson, and Joel is folded into our family, and we've reunited and become the brothers that we've always been. I love the interactions with Uncle Joel and my son. Everybody's always Uncle Tommy, but now he's Uncle Joel, which is a really cool dynamic shift. I think, and Ellie, of course, is I love her as much as anyone in the family, and that's the beauty of it, and that's the really comforting environment that we find ourselves in at the beginning. I have a little bit more of I'm a little bit more relaxed with Ellie. Joel is understandably protective of her, and I keep saying he would wrap her in bubble wrap if he could, but he can't, and he's unable to see, because of how much he loves her and how devoted he is to Ellie. He's unable to see what she's growing into, and her, in many ways, as it pertains to her own identity, her own sexual identity, her own capability as a warrior. And I think Tommy is a more of a safe space for her to be more of who she is, and she also knows that she can get away with murder around me. So I'm usually the one that has to be the go-between between them, and also the bearer of their secrets. And so it's a very interesting dynamic that's kind of fraught with tension in different places. But Tommy gets to be what he always has been, which is a man who loves his family and is a protector of those he loves.
I think that there's, I guess they're like really living in the same place. They're older, so I think that the relationship that Ellie had with Riley, it was so new. That's like the first feelings of like a crush and first sort of love in a way. And so I think that's always going to feel different and really special to like a more older, more mature sort of like crush and feelings for somebody. So yes, this one with Dina definitely feels deeper just because there's more time for them to like explore it. I think Ellie's time with Riley was so limited, unfortunately, that I think that lived in sort of in the world of that episode of season 1, episode 8. That really did feel like the whole journey of their relationship, because it could only be that short. But it's nice to have a whole season sort of to explore Ellie and Dina's relationship and how that grows and develops, and in all the ways in which that really positively impacts Ellie and negatively sometimes. I think that's always such a big learning curve, and especially within the world of like such intense danger around them all the time, it adds a whole other like element of intensity.
So Dina wasn't drunk, she was actually just high, and I guess she says she smokes a lot, and I don't know, I think Dina's not as aloof as she seems to be. I think Dina is actually very intelligent and knows exactly what she's doing. And that's kind of what I love about this character is there's just so much nuance behind it. And what normally could be written as sort of like in a way, like a manic pixie dream girl who like supports her main squeeze at all costs and whatever that happens. You can only trust what you see. And that's in a way, kind of that's part of the gag is like, Ellie doesn't know, and you don't know until Dina starts to reveal herself later on. And at the same time, though, like there's still homophobia rampant in the world. It didn't just like die with the people. It is thriving. And so, you know, I think there's also just like confusion and sexuality too. I think it's like just a canon event for all gays is like that best friend that you're in love with or is in love with you that you can't seem to read the fine print or the lines are so blurred. And I think it's a very relatable experience, and we'll kind of get to see that in fruition. I think I was rooting for Dina and Ellie because it's really hard to find queer relationships in media that actually end in like two people just being in love and it being okay. Like there's always some sort of tragedy. So yeah, I'm rooting for them too.
I think Jesse is very fond of Ellie. Both feeling, I think Jesse is an outsider and he recognizes that same energy in Ellie. And recognizes Ellie's fierce protectiveness over the people she cares about, and I think that's a shared quality between them. And I think because they're both a bit on the outside looking in, Jesse and Ellie are drawn to someone like Dina, which makes a lot of sense. And in some ways, Jesse feels much more of an obligation to the community and to Jackson, and has made that decision to consciously be a pillar of the community. And I think he sees the same potential in Ellie, but recognizes that Ellie's a bit of a firecracker, and finds that endearing, and also that becomes a point of contention between them. But I think that's relevant in any relationship with two people of similar vibes but different priorities.
I mean, I was scared just watching it, so I don't know how much choice we may have on whether or not we're scared, because the threat is great. Just the sheer size of what we see in the trailer is just overwhelming, and so I think we've done so much work and we've built so much to keep the monsters at the door, and you see in the trailer that what you call a trickle, I call like just a tidal wave. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but there's a lot of fight in the community of Jackson.